What's up, everybody? This is USS Princeton 2004. Hope everybody's doing alright. So I was reading in the news yesterday, and one of the Philippine websites, and it had a headline there for Manny Pacquiao, and it was his fight against Mosley. Shane Mosley, I think. But the judges scored, all three judges scored the fight to be unanimous for Manny Pacquiao. And Mosley wasn't even a challenge to the pound for pound king. And he was no match for Manny Pacquiao. And as a Filipino, of course, I'm a big fan of Manny Pacquiao. And he's obviously got a big following of fans in the Philippines. I didn't get to watch the fight this time around, but I saw his fight against Margarito in the Philippines, as well as let's see, Hatton, the British fighter, I think. I saw him fight him and knock Hatton out in the second round. So it wasn't much of a fight between Ricky Hatton and Manny Pacquiao. And I don't even recall a time when Manny Pacquiao has lost. He's always won all of his fights. I mean, just recently, maybe he's lost fights when he was younger. But none of the big fights that has become famous. And both my younger brothers, Gowan and Eric, more so my brother Eric, is a follower of Manny Pacquiao, and he bought a lot of t-shirts while we were in the Philippines, in Manila, Green Hills. He bought a lot of Manny Pacquiao t-shirts and a jacket that was like red, blue, and white and yellow, which represented the Philippine flag. But most of the fights that I've watched, there would be like a big get-together of Filipinos to watch them in one place where, you know, somebody paid to have the fight on TV. And also one time I had the chance of watching the fight in a movie theater. And they had it set up just like as if you were watching a movie. And it's been so long ago, I had forgotten who he was fighting. Manny Pacquiao is very talented, and he has other interests other than boxing. Of course, he's been on TV a lot, and he's been on a lot of commercials. And he's also a congressman in the Philippines. So he's very, very popular in the Philippines, you know, for the obvious reason of, you know, him being a Filipino. And boxing is a big sport in the Philippines. A lot of younger fighters are coming up to emulate Manny Pacquiao in hopes that they can be as successful as the career of Manny. Yeah, I think fights, you know, in boxing, a lot of it has to do with the skills of the boxer. But at the same time, you have to have a pretty good coach that can tell you what you're doing wrong and can train you, and just to set you up for your next big fight. So his coach, Roach is the last name, has been, you know, supportive, and you know, he's been with Manny for a long time now, so it's proven to be a good combination. And I think George St. Pierre is the UFC fighter champion for his weight class. I think light middleweight. And at one time, he trained with Roach. So, you know, that was to improve his boxing skills. And at one point, there was a photo shoot with Manny Pacquiao and George St. Pierre you know, standing together. Two of the greatest fighters of all time, training under one coach. So that says a lot about Roach. And some people in the Philippines want Manny to stop fighting because, they want his success and winning record to be intact and his reputation. And, it's better to leave the sport on a high note than to continue fighting. But, in your last few years as a fighter fighting, aren't as, your condition isn't as good as when you were younger. So, I don't know, Manny might still have, a few fights in him left. It boils down to his own decision and how he feels about his physical abilities. But like I said, some Filipinos want him to just, hang up the gloves and concentrate on being a politician. So, I hope the best for everything for Manny Pacquiao. And, I don't mind watching him fight again. So, in my opinion, he probably can still fight, but I don't want him to fight too much to the point where he loses a lot. So, I want him to have that winning reputation and have, the title for the pound-for-pound king. This is USS Princeton 2004 signing out.